Welcome back, everybody. I am Dylan McDonald, and beside me, virtually in the broadcast booth with me, is the guy who kind of lost his voice last week, but has now got it back, and that is Kevin Young.
How is it? I'm just kidding. My voice is perfectly fine right now. It's glad it's back here because I'm quite enjoying have my voice back. And we're here at Dover, Concrete Paradise, home of Monster the Mile, and or Miles the Monster, I should say. Um, yeah, it's going to be an interesting race here today. First round of the playoffs starts today, and after the upcoming next 5 rounds, at the end of the 5th round, which is at Kansas, we will know our core racing truck series champion. But first, the first step always starts the journey, and for the drivers in the playoffs, the top 12, it's going to be a long journey, but one of them will be champion by the end of it.
Yeah, that's actually going to be a long road to get through. But before we go on to get to talking about the race, let's go ahead and introduce our interest reporter tonight. That is my teammate Eric Andrews in the number 9 Raise Energy Machine. Kind of give us a little bit of a rundown how these tires are wearing and how many laps you're going to be able to get out here on track.
Looks like we're getting about 31 and a half laps roughly on a set of tires. As I say, they just seem to be going away um, fairly quickly, but that's Dover for you. This concrete track, and the way you are in these corners and everything just takes a lot off of, takes a lot out of your tires. So it'll definitely come into play for this race for sure.
Now, is it going to be safer to be on the outside, or is it going to be a better strategy to run the inside of the track?
Safest place to be outside in the casino. I think you have better luck out there than on this track right now. But no, I honestly don't know. I guess it depends on what kind of how you want to run this. I mean, you can stay down low, but I know in past races at this, if you run that middle groove, you can also protect your line pretty well by running that middle groove. So, it's gonna all come down to, I guess, personal preference, driver preference of what they like and what they feel comfortable with. But it should make for an interesting and fun race for sure.
Yeah, me and Kevin were talking about it before we went live. This is going to be actually a pretty good race. We got a couple of playoff contenders not being here tonight, but they're definitely going to come back possibly for the second race of the playoffs. But before we get you on out here so you can concentrate on your qualifying laps, is there anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Well, obviously, you guys for doing the broadcast. We appreciate you guys. Core, everything Carl and Paul and everybody, like Kevin, everybody behind the scenes does with Core Racing, and Raise Energy. Big sponsor of mine, so appreciate that. But yeah, it's just hope for a good race. I think you're going to see a lot of wadded up trucks coming off the corner, smacking the wall. It's going to make things interesting. So buckle up, boys. You're in for a good show up there.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to talk to you at the end of this thing as I've known you've won Dover a couple times, not in the trucks necessarily, but in the other cars. So from us up here in the booth, we do give you good luck tonight.
All right, well, thank you guys, and have fun up there in the booth.
Yes, sir. Well, that's going to do it for our interest reporter. We do have our resident pastor tonight in Mr. Zach Woods. Going to go ahead and bring Mr.
Wait, I think
Woods.
Let's make sure he's not on a lap first.
I have a bad feeling that he is, and I just kind of...
Yes, he is on a lap right now. Just started his first lap, so we may just want to let him take his laps here before we ask him to do something.
Yeah,
that would be nice. I'd really appreciate that.
Yep, we're just going to follow along with you.
Oh, please don't. I mean, this isn't riveting coverage here.
We'll follow on with 30 then. We'll just keep your eye in the background here. Not too much pressure here. So as he finishes, let him just do his laps here. Randall Robinson's currently P1 right now. Caleb Collins, second. Mark Thomas, the Brits in third. And the 61 smacks the ball on a second lap there. And, sorry, Zach, I at least was watching, but I don't know what the stream was. And that will be his 2 runs complete there.
All right, guys. Well, that's about as good as it's got to get. So let's pray together. Oh my God, I thank you for iRacing and the power it brings to bring a whole bunch of people together. And Lord, as we do so once again tonight here at Dover, I pray that you might bless the drivers tonight with patience and wisdom as we traverse the Monster Mile. And Lord, as we do so, we pray that this is pleasing and beneficial in your sight. And we just thank you for the means to do this. We pray all this in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. We just want to say a big thank you to Zach for doing this week in and week out, and it's always good to have you up here in the booth doing that for us every week.
Awesome.
Even
Thank
if
you.
even my co-commentator drags you in bad times.
Yeah, I have a bad timing with that. Next week, I promise, I'll wait till we get ready to grid. How about that?
Oh, don't make any promises you can't keep.
Oh,
So,
I will make every promise I can. we're going to go ahead and let you get back up there with Eric and all in the gang, and hopefully we'll be talking to you into this thing.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Yep. All right, that was our resident pastor, kind of not in a good mood with me, kind of messed up his qualifying run, but, stuff does happen, and I do apologize for doing that to him, but...
Well, he did outqualify Joseph Sullivan and John Crane, so he's at least not the worst driver currently out there. And I think he's actually going to outqualify the 27, who's also in the playoffs, because I think he had a bad first run at the very least, and he's just kind of sitting at pit lane for a second lap, so it's not all fun games for him. But you do have a couple drivers currently out there on circuit right now. Let me get my glass out here. I believe it's the 88 and the 75. The 88 may be worth noting as he's on a second run here. He comes off last corner here. Can he put that machine up in the higher spots? It will be no improvement there. So Mark Gonzalez cannot put down a competitive lap time, which I got to say, he's been relatively stepping it up the past couple weeks. He may be a driver to at least keep an eye on, but his main downside is he's been a little bit just in his own way, his own worst enemy, as they would say.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to race the truck. You just want to race the track how it wants to be raced. And I noticed with Mark Gonzalez, he gets a little too eager and just wants to get up to the front. He did run the fastest lap in practice, I do believe, and to have the qualifying run that he had here for qualifying, that's a little shocking to me, especially with Mark Gonzalez and how quick he's been. All he's got to do is just be calm, be patient, and let the track come to him. And that's actually helped me a lot through everything. So hopefully that's what he does, and he picks them off one by one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that is the end of qualifying there. So pole will go to Randall Robinson, who he'll have an extra number to his pole totals. Remember, he is our current points leader in the first round of the playoffs here. Remember, it is a win-you're-in situation for the playoffs onwards. So if a driver wins here today that's in the playoffs, he will clinch himself a spot into the next round. And Randall Robinson, like I said, 15 bonus points saved up from his 3 wins, puts himself in a good spot to start the playoffs here. But winning that race here would definitely help him out even more for the next round, and obviously getting out of this round. So he's definitely not going to want to lose here. But it could be a situation where drivers like, for instance, Jim Ott, second qualifying, did not win a race so far this season, could easily get the playoff started on right foot if he wins here. Rick Gonzalez, another name as well. Mark Thomas won last week at the Roval. Can't use that momentum to chase on. We'll find out over the next 120 laps. That is for sure.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and go down our qualifying order for tonight's race. It is 120 laps, so you do have a lot of time to make up and stay with the field. But so far, we have Randall Robertson getting the pole tonight in the number 30 truck, with Jim Ott starting P number 2, Jason Harrison in 3rd, Ricky Gonzalez in 4th, Caleb Collins in 5th, Mark Thomas in 6th, Ryan J. Munoz making his first start, I do believe, in 7th, Matt Crockett in 8th, Jimmy Inslee in 9th, Eric Andrews in 10th, Joe Morant in 11th, Zach Woods in 12th, Joseph Sullivan in 13th, John Crane in 14th, Brad Bubel in 15th, Mark Gonzalez with no time in 16th, and Brendan Polt rounding out your 17-car field back in 17th.
Yep, 15, 16, 17 were not able to set times. 15th went out there, and 16 went out there, and they both just successfully put down a successful lap, but they may have hit the wall too much, and Brendan Polt did not even take an attempt at a lap. So, yeah, 2 drivers there in the playoffs, Bubel and Gonzalez, both behind the 8 ball right now already, starting that far back, but 120 laps, still plenty of time to make it back up here and make something happen at the very least. But I'm going to throw a quick prediction to you. Who do you think looks the strongest right now here in Dover before the pace car comes off? Who's your money on?
I would have to give it to the numbers. I'll take the number 88 of Mark Gonzalez.
Ooh, you know what? I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with the 04 Jim Ott. That's who I'm throwing my prediction down to.
Yeah, I mean,
So right,
with Mark Gonzalez being the way that he is and how quick he is, he's actually fairly clean, and it looks like he had a little bit of a problem there. But green flag is out. Everybody's into the going into the straightaway there. Randall Robertson able to clear the 04 going into turn number 1, and they're still stacked up behind him as the top 6, I should say, are single file.
yep, they're all pretty much kind of lined out there. 30 got a great start there. The 04 kind of got a little bit caught napping at the very least. They all relatively now just kind of get in single file line right now. I don't even see one car side by side all the way through the back there. So right now, at least lap 1, they all kind of held spot, but obviously that ain't going to last too long as people are going to find their grooves, find where they're comfortable on the circuit, and start making passes at the leisure. I see a car kind of high there on the wall there. I think
Oh, they're
also
spinning. John
spinning.
Crane right in front of the number
The
88 of Mark Gonzalez, able to get around him. No caution is out. And that is a hard leg for the number 11. Not sure exactly what happened. We're going to go ahead and drop back to a replay here. As
Race control said track is clear, so there will be no caution.
And SDK did not pick up the event, so we're going to have to see exactly what happened. Mark Gonzalez gives him a little bit of a tap, overcorrects, and Mark Gonzalez actually was able to miss the whole thing. So there was another, issue that we do see with Mark Gonzalez. He does get a little bit over eager, we could say, and just wants to hurry up, get up to the front as he's gotten around the number 76. Starting to
I will
work
say
on the number
this.
61.
Usually you see those incidents at Dover, and usually they end up in tears. And surprisingly, that didn't end up in tears. Well, there's now a caution now as something else may have happened. Considering there's a big gap between the 72, I'm wondering if it may have resulted in that. Did your SDK pick anything up worth noting, or is it just the remnants of what happened for the Mark Gonzalez incident?
SDK did not pick up anything, so not sure exactly what happened. I don't see any damage.
Carl threw the caution, so I'm wondering if maybe it had been a late call for what happened with the 11. Possibly, because that's the only incident I'm seeing. Because that's the only thing that really, because no one else did anything, no other cars end up spinning around, and yeah, so it had to have been for that incident we just saw. Even though we did save it, I guess, considering it was Gonzalez as well, must have been that situation. Just confirming, I'm not seeing anything before the caution came out.
Tire marks on the back stretch there, kind of.
But I think that may have been the 11 of John Crane.
Up underneath the bridge, it looked like maybe somebody spun and got it flipped back around super quick and was able to keep going, but SDK didn't pick up anything on the radar, so don't have to really worry about that. Guess we'll hear from race control here in a little bit, see what the cause of the first caution was.
Yeah, the thing was, it wasn't race control, it was Carl, because race control didn't call anything. So whatever Carl saw, he decided to elect the call.
I believe Carl Handwerk is race control. And want to give a big shout out to Josh Billiter. He hasn't been able to be here for a couple of weeks due to all the flooding down in Kentucky. Us here in core racing as a whole and CRN, we are praying for you and hoping that you guys can get back into your house and you guys can actually get through this flooding down there in Kentucky. So with everybody here in core and on CRN, we are thinking about you, Josh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even Joshua, who's our race control, is still wondering too what got caution. I'm still not even 100%.
Yeah, I would have to say it might be the.
And Carl just said he didn't even throw it. So that was weird. That was just the game, just kind of, I don't know.
Well, it looks like iRacing has a mind of its own as of right now, but while we're under pace laps, we do have a little bit of time before we get back to green flag racing.
Yeah,
we actually get through the paint schemes tonight.
Yeah, while you do that, I'll just let everyone know that Zachary Woods, Mark Gonzalez, Brad Bull, Josh Sullivan, John Crane, and Brendan Bull all pinned under that last caution and elected to probably take tires and fill up the car. so they'll be on a slightly different strategy. Continue on.
Oh, yeah, you're good. Looking at the 04 of Jim Ott, the number 74 of Jason Arison in that Wrangler machine, the Legacy Power number 7 of Ricky Gonzalez, the 50 of the Bad Obsession Motorsport number 50 of Mark Thomas, the 72 Kellogg's machine of Caleb Collins.
The Roadrunner one.
Oh, yeah, the Roadrunner. Can't forget the Roadrunner. The 10 of Adventures with Purpose of Matt Crockett. I don't see any of the Liquid Death on there, Matt. You might have to put that on there for us. The 9 of Eric Andrews in that Raise Energy Rep Sports. The 75 of
75.
Ryan Munoz.
The Colombian 053, the purple machine.
Uh,
I think we're about to go green here, so we may want to get pace car off. So we'll get back into the rest at a later time. But right now, we're going back to green here, and Ren Robinson leads him away again. Jim Ott, nice little equalizer here, and we're going to see what happens. To get Jim Ott does not get off the restart here, and I think the 74 is going to have a chance to capitalize.
Oh,
he may be
big
able to
stack
take a move
up in the
through.
back.
One in
Oh,
the
they're
back.
wrecking. The
Yep.
88, Mark Gonzalez,
That's gonna be a
Zach
caution.
Woods, the 013, and possibly more. Not sure
Yep.
exactly what happened on that restart. But,
Main
we're gonna
casualties
go
are the
ahead
88 and the 61 for sure. They're definitely wrong way around.
We're going to go ahead and rewind this. Not sure if
Oh,
there was a
zero-
big checkup on the start
013 as
or
well.
what happened here. Going to ride along with the number 013 because as soon as I went to the TV3, and it looks like Mark Gonzalez got a better start. The 013 had a little bit of connection issues, so we'll go ahead and jump over to Mark Gonzalez's look here. We'll oh no, it just okay, we're good now. All right,
Okay.
we'll go ahead and
So I have to
rewind that.
quickly technical difficulties. But now we'll actually rewind here and tell you what happened. Yeah, just see Mark get a little bit of a blank there. I guess Mark Gonzalez didn't know where he was, and it looked like he spun the tires to 013 ahead. So you can't really put that on Mark Gonzalez. Maybe a little bit more patient would have been the call per se, but he didn't know if he was there or not. He didn't know where he was, so just kind of situation with just how virtual racing is, where sometimes just things like that happen.
And now,
And-
with it being 10 laps, now you got to burn that fast repair. Now you really have to drive smart and be extra patient. And that's just something that you don't really want to see this early in the race. Later in the race, yeah, sure, if you still have that in your back pocket. But now you're going to see a whole different side of Mark Gonzalez. Maybe he's going to be driving like a road rage teenager, or maybe he's going to take his time and actually try to work his way up through this field and keep his truck clean.
The one saving grace is like two drivers, Thaddeus Marshall and Cody McCauley, were not able to come here tonight, and they're both in the playoffs. So he'll gain points on them regardless. But if he's still behind the 8 ball, it's definitely not going to be an easy dig out to pull himself out of. But he does at least have 5 bonus points for winning the Charlotte Roll. So there's at least one caveat he has. But it looks like he burned his fast spare. He's on his way out. 013 as well. And Race Control is calling it a racing incident as well. Just heard it down the pipeline. So no penalties will be enforced. Zachary Woods leaving the pit lane as well. And we got 2 to green, about to be 1 to green. So, Dylan, if you want to go through those paint schemes, go right ahead.
Let's see where we were left off at. It was the Ryan J. Munoz
Purple.
machine. Oh, yep. It was Jimmy Inslee. That's who we left off on. So Jimmy Inslee does have a little bit of damage on his car. We're going to go ahead and show the Barney machine, as he gave me a big shout out for calling his truck the Barney machine. We'll go ahead and move on to. Well,
Yep, we've seen these 2 already. Yep.
the 21.
21,
The 27.
The Twitter machine.
I apologize.
Yep.
27.
That really looks like a 1, though, like
Yeah.
from afar away.
The 76.
76.
Of Joseph Sullivan. Mark
Just yellow in the
Gonzalez.
stripe.
Kind of
The B
reminds me
machine.
of what's his name? Reminds me of Aaron Smith, the hot tamales machine of the 11 of Jonathan Crane. Then we got the 013 blue carbon fiber of Josh Morant, the 071 of Brendan Polt with a little bit of nose damage, and then 61 of Zachary Woods in the Christian iRacers Toyota Tundra, still with a little bit of
Yeah.
damage. Opted
So I guess you
not
can
to
use-
take his fast repair. So that's
Yeah.
that's definitely.
I think he
different.
thinks. I'm thinking he thinks cautions breed cautions. So he's thinking, I'm going to probably involve something else. I'd rather play it smart, which I don't hate that call. If that truck still drives relatively okay, doesn't have a meatball, and he's not a lap down, let's take a risk. Pace
Yeah.
car off this time by as well.
And
Going to be control under Randall Robinson again, and he's going to get going. And again, Jim Ott gets a better restart that time, but he has really not been matching the same pace that the 04 has. But everyone else, relatively clean going into one, and looks relatively all right for the start-wise.
well, I will say he probably just got a little bit of a warning by race control. Not sure if race control was able to catch it or not, but I do know a rule is you can't move or advance your spot on the grid. Like, you can't change lanes before the start finish line, and Randall Robinson went from the inside to the outside, so that might be a warning for the number 30. And it's not that bad of a warning, you know. It happens. I've
He
done
was
it.
well clear. He was well clear, but yeah, a warning would probably suffice for that one.
As
But I've heard-
Jonathan Crane's back in the wall back here. As
wreck on the front stretch. I think
the
it's a 61. Yep, Zachary Woods.
Zachary Woods is spinning it back around. We're gonna go ahead and take a look and see exactly what happened here. As it looked like the 013 got in with him as well.
Mm-hmm.
013 gets in the wall. Zach had nowhere to go. That's gonna use a fast repair, and that is not how that race truck wants to be.
Well, we were just talking about it. How with Zachary Woods, I just said we were just saying like he probably didn't burn his fast repair because he wanted to save it. Well, if he burned his fast repair, this truck would probably be done for the night. So
yeah, you can see it right now. We'll go ahead and go to the chase camera. His back end is to the right, to the left. He is crab walking, dog walking, anything you can think of, and he's definitely gonna have to use a fast repair if he's still got it in his back pocket.
I believe he does, but we could be proven wrong here. So we'll see. He's definitely coming down the pit here. We'll see if any other driver elects to come in. Randall Robinson is coming in this time by, along with Ricky Gonzalez, Matt Crockett, Eric Andrews, Brad Booles, Cumden, along with Jimmy Ainsley, John Crane, Joseph Sullivan, Joe Mart, and Zachary Woods. So a little bit of a mixed bag there. Some drivers electing to stay out. Jim Ott, Jason Harrison, Mark Thomas, Caleb Collins, Ryan J. Munoz all elect to stay out, along with Mark Gonzalez and Brendan Polt. The rest of the field elects to come in.
Yeah, I think everybody's still doing the cautious breed cautions thing, as you see the majority of the field coming in to take tires. They do have unlimited tires, so you don't have to worry about losing. Have to worry about saving tire wear as much as you possibly can. But before we get going back on the track, going to give a big shout out to Barry Kistler for joining in on this live stream. Going to have to get him in the booth one day with us, Kevin, because this guy is always in the comment section rooting on anybody that wins the race, and whatever CRN does put out there, he is always the first one to comment on anything, and he always shows support to the CRN broadcasters and Core Racing League in general.
Again, Core wouldn't be anything without his audience, so we're glad that he's able to watch, and anyone else is watching as well. We hope you enjoyed this show. Get yourself a nice drink of water, and hopefully we have a nice little green flag run here, because a little bit of a, you could say, playoff jitters here. Some of these drivers have gotten a little bit over anxious, but I think we'll be good. Yeah,
especially last week, turning left and right, they got to get their oval wings back underneath them. I don't know where that came from. It just came to my head, had to let it out there. I know for sure when I do a road race, it takes me a little bit longer to get used to the oval side, even though I am an oval racer. But when I do road, I stick with road for about a couple weeks before I go back to the oval side. But pace car is going to drop down this time by. Jim Ott elected to go on the outside and give the inside to Jason Harrison with Caleb Collins in third.
Yep. Now, Jim Ott hasn't really been the best to restarts. Now, he controls the field here, so we'll see what he can do. And also, Mark Gonzalez and Brendan Polt have fresher tires than the drivers ahead of them. And Matt Crockett on down have pitted on that last caution, and I think Matt Crockett may have took twos or no tires, but the rest took tires. We'll see how it plays out here on the Conquer Service that eats up tires for breakfast. Jim Ott on control. And we're going to see what happens here. He's waiting until the Geico restart zone. Goes a little bit earlier than that because it's on compression. And away he goes. Holds his line this time. So Jim Ott takes Chase Harrison. It looks like, again, if you're the car on the inside and you don't time restart right, you're under pressure. But right now, we see a big move by the 88 machine getting around the 75. Now setting sets up on the 72 on the backstretch.
Yeah, Jim Ott got a really good restart there going into turn number 1. Got a little bit of a gap on the number 74. That was something that the 30 of Randall Robertson was not able to do, was open up that big enough gap that the 04 of Jim Ott was able to do. But look at the 88. He is driving with a vengeance. He wants to get up to the front. He doesn't want to be back in the back and dealing with a lot of traffic. He wants to get an extra bonus point for leading a lap and possibly getting into the podium to help his chances throughout this rest of this playoff race. But so far, back in the pack as Brendan Polk gets into the wall while battling with the number 30. He's going to keep it up into the wall and let the 27 and the 7 go around him. And here comes the number 9. He's going to possibly make it a 3-for-1 as Eric Andrews just tucks in behind him as the 30 is now alongside with the number 10 of Matt Crockett.
30 trying to use those fresh tires to his advantage here. Him in the 10, but I think the 10, though, may not be on the freshest tires. He had a 5-second better pit stop, so makes you wonder at the very least if he took all 4 tires. But the 30 going to try to make move on the inside of the 72 here. 72 going to be up in the line. He's going to kind of pick off here, and 30 is going to make it like it's going to successfully happen. And it's a big cluster down there. As a 10 just kind of chop blocks Brad Boole there, as there was just nowhere to go, as this circuit's very, very close. And the 72 is just basically the pick that everyone's trying to work their way around here. So 30 machine gets around. He sets his sights now on the 50 up the road by about a second. Then we see in the distance there, we can see the 10 of Matt Crockett going to try to make a move on the 72 here. Successfully this time by, and he'll successfully come up. Can he clear the Kellogg's machine? Yes, he can. And now here comes Brad Boole as well. Going to try to make move in the 1. And I think he's going to get it done going on the backstretch here as the 72 really got up the surface. Yes, he will. And they're all just passing Mr. 72 machine all on the inside like he's standing still. And it just shows the tire advantage just playing in the factor right there as the 72 stayed out, everyone else pitted, and the 72 is just a sitting duck.
Yeah, another thing you do have to realize and watch out for is the walls. Dover does look like a pretty wide racetrack, but when you're actually inside the car or truck, excuse me, that wall sneaks up on you in miles. Oh, the 71 and the 72 get together. The 72 goes around, gets into Zach Woods, and that'll bring out this third caution. As it looked like a little bit of a netco between the 071 and the number 72. And that will bring out our third caution. The 72 is going to get the worst end of the stick. We're going to go ahead and drop back to a replay here. The 071 and 72 came down in the middle. Zach Woods was able to get away with it with no damage.
Well, he did hit that. He did hit the 72 just a bit there. Maybe it was the 07, the blue machine. As we just see, he looks like he may have lightly tapped him.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and look right in on the cockpit view of Zach Woods, so we can get a look of see exactly what he saw in his mirror or his windshield.
Definitely wasn't a fun moment there. Ooh,
he did not hit. No. Wow, that was great driving by Zachary Woods. You don't really get to see that a lot.
Yeah, I thought he hit the 72, and the 72 got that little bit of air. I thought that was the hit that got in the air, but no, he made it through with perfect brakes, so good move by the 72 there. Drivers hit this caution right now. We just saw, obviously, the main leaders came in because they're now in their window, because we estimate about 33 laps per pit stop, so they pitted, but a majority of the field did elect to come in, including Randall Robinson again and a few others. Driver going to lead him out, though, is Jim Ott, but driver staying out, Matt Crockett, Eric Andrews, Zachary Woods, and Jimmy Ainsley all elected to stay out there. Everyone else elected to pit. And Jim Ott will be de facto P1, at least at the pitters, at the very least.
Yeah, as we are under our third caution, we'll go ahead and bring in our in-race reporter of the number 9 of Eric Andrews, get his take on this race so far and see exactly what he can do. Eric, this is Kevin and Dylan in the booth. You got a copy?
He's not muted, so he can hear us, or at least he can say something if he wishes.
Eric?
Well, the technical difficulties, but I think the lights are off on the pace car here, so
Yeah, we'll go
Yeah, we
ahead
may
and
want to let
yeah,
him go back.
yeah, I just threw him back up there. Not sure exactly what was going on. Might have. I know he does do a push to talk button. He might not have had it
But that's usually
reset.
for iRacing. Wouldn't does he use push dock for Discord as well?
Yes, sir. He has me and him run this device called Dre that we use our microphones to say, hey, I want tires, I want fuel, use fast repair, and when you click a certain button on your wheel or button box, it'll key up your mic for Dre, and I could always tell when I'm getting ready to, like, let's say, click my fast repair, my truck will pretty much shut off and turn back on until I get done with talking to Dre. So Eric Andrews starting P number 2 on this restart. Pace car ducking off into the pit lane. Matt Crockett has control of this restart. He's going to bring him all the way to the front stretch. Now he's going to go. He's going to get a good restart. Got a little bit of a wheel spin there. And now we're going to go into turn number
Oh,
1
look at
and
the
2.
88. He's just hounding the back of the 61 there. Just seeing the tire advantage there. He was just all over the back of him and trying to make that quick work there. And actually, he made a good move on the 04 machine. As they kind of, I think the pick happened with the Barney machine there, as 88 was able to get around the 04, even though the 44 beat him out on the pit lane here. And Mark Gonzalez is kind of trying to make quick work because he knows those fresh tires, if he can get through those top 3 quickly, he will be in a situation where he'll be the kind of the able to kind of set quicker lap times here. As the third, he's actually looks like he's fallen down the order a bit, down to 12, and is under pressure here at the very least. Just behind him is Brandon Polt there, could possibly make it a move. Jim Otto making a move around the 88 machine here,
Yeah,
as just kind of keeping on all battles.
Just seeing a little bit of that as Jim Ott's making his way. You can definitely see who got the fresher tires of the bunch, as Eric Andrews was able to get around Matt Crockett for the lead. He's going to be able to lead a lap. But here comes the 50 of Mark Thomas, the 04, the 27, and the number 74, all trying to get up to the front. They're 3 wide in front of him. Zach Woods backs out of that. Smart move by the 61 as he gets into the wall. Going to keep it up there and stay out of everybody's way, but not what you really want to do coming off the corners. As I said earlier, you know, the track does look really wide, but if you get a little bit on the throttle just a little bit too soon, that front end can start plowing, and you'll lose a little bit of traction, and you'll find yourself up in the outside wall. But so far, it looks like Matt Crockett is now with battle with Brad Boubel, as we have Eric Andrews
pass for the lead
with Mark Gonzalez. Mark Gonzalez is going to get credited for leading this lap.
And we got the wreck as well. 76-11, both wrong way around on the backs, front stretches, I should say. Looks like something happened between the two of them. 76 parked. That probably should be a caution. He's still just stationary there.
We'll go ahead
and now the caution has been thrown.
The 11 got into the wall and hit the 76. They do say Dover is a self-cleaning track. As you've seen there, the 11 got down to the inside. But definitely not what you really want to see, as these does not... You don't really want to see anybody get in the wall, and especially, you know, hit the wall, bounce off the wall, go down to the inside wall, and just pretty much helicopter all the way back up towards the outside. The only thing that really sucked for Joseph Sullivan is he was already committed to that high lane, and you know, with you being behind somebody like that, depending on where your FOV is or anything like that, you really can't see what's happening, and it was just a tough break for the number 76 machine.
Yeah, I just know where to go in that situation, and he'll just have to kind of sit. And I think, no offense, I think the 76 they're going to have long tow times here, so definitely going to get at least one lap down. And I do wonder if they have any fast repairs left, but we'll find out if that can change in accordance.
Well, I will say, guys, as you guys are watching right now, make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment, give it a thumbs up. Anything would be grateful, as it will help the CRN grow. Share with your friends, family, brother, sister, girlfriend, husband, boyfriend, anybody you want to, and get these guys a big thumbs up at the CRN with me, Kevin Young. There's too many Kevins, if you haven't noticed. Kevin, there's about 5 or 6 on Monday night, and Carl and Jimmy, us here with CRN, we've done a lot of stuff here, and can't thank Jimmy enough for giving us the opportunity to start something with this and taking a little bit of a run with it.
Yep. Yep. Joshua was just on the phone there for personal reasons. That's why control didn't come out right away. So, don't want to really repeat that over here. But just wondering why, if you're wondering why late caution happened, that's why. But race control though did get eventually out. Nothing really major happened. But yeah, Mark Gonzalez leads him the way here. Mark Gonzalez, Jim Ott, Mark Thomas, Brad Boole, Harrison Gonzalez, Randall Robinson, Munoz all stayed out there that last caution. Eric Andrews, everyone else down elected to pit. And we're just seeing different strategies here. As we know, tires are free, fuel is free. You can use as many as you like, and just have that. We just saw having that slight advantage plays dividends if you have a fast truck or you know how to make this car work. As we saw, Mark Gonzalez, he was carving for his field quickly. Randall Robinson, though, had the fresh tires, and he kind of got stuck behind some things. So I do ask you in the racer question, if you're a driver, let's say this mid-pack, you know you have a car that kind of gets the front, do you come in, let's say there's another caution, do you come in under that caution and get fresh tires, but it puts you like 14th? Or do you stay out at mid-pack, but better opportunity to kind of get yourself to the front? What would you like to do in that situation? Pit or don't pit?
With me, it's kind of a question of you got to play in your mind. Okay, if I go in, I'm good because there's a possibility we could have a long green flag run. You'll have the fresher tires, you'll have the more gas over everybody else. But if you don't pit and it's just caution after caution, yes, track position is key, especially on a short track like Dover. Track position is going to be key, but you also want to keep in the back of your mind, if it does go green, you're going to have older tires while everybody behind you is going to have the fresher ones.
Mm-hmm.
But for me personally, every caution I would get, I will be taking fuel and tires no matter what happens.
Wow. I don't hate the call, but I just think if I'm buried in 13th or 14th after that, and we just see how hard it is or how accidents happen, sometimes you get swept up in them, it just feels like it just isn't worth the risk. But different strokes for different folks, per se. But
Pace lights are off. Mark Gonzalez does elect to take the inside. The 04 of Jim Ott's going to be on the outside with Mark Thomas and Brad Boubel running out your top four as they get ready to go through turn 3 and 4. Pace truck's going to dip off. Pace car is going to dip off into pit lane. We're going to see exactly when Mark Gonzalez is going to go. He's going to lead him to the green, and he's going to get a good jump. He's going to stay on that. He's going to jump up before the start-finish line, so that may be another little warning for the number 88. But so far, the top two are single file. But now you got Brad Boubel in the 50 and Mark Thomas. They're doing a little bit of a battle, but you got Mark Gonzalez's brother, Ricky Gonzalez, trying to make his way up as Brad Boubel drifts up the track, able to keep it off the wall. But here comes the number 30 of Randall Robertson.
Yeah, Brandon Robinson going to try to make a move here on the 27 truck here as it goes side by side.
And then number 9 with the number 75, they're side by side as well. Ryan Munoz making his debut in the truck series. Got in there a little bit too deep, almost got in the back of the number 27, able to keep it off of him. But now they're kind of single filed out now with Brad Boubel taking over the position with Randall Robertson behind him. And then following is the number 9 of Eric Andrews, and then the 75 of Ryan Munoz.
Just want to liberate race control. Just alerted that now the one and only warning happened for lane changing. So that was your one warning right there. And so we'll have to wait and see if it does happen again, what will occur. But as the last warning and last kind of, the benches have been cleared, as they would say, using a baseball term. I mean, the benches have been warned. But anyway, yeah, they're kind of all playing, kind of riding along right now per se. But you can see some answers to 30 again, just peeking on the 27 there, looking. He's like, I can make this move happen, but where can I make it stick? Because every time he gets close into that corner, it's just either the opportunity just fizzles out, or he's just not close enough to do it without risking. And he just sees his main competitors kind of driving off into the distance here. So he needs to think of something and think of something quick, or else he may be kind of just stuck where he is for the time being. But 88 just driving away right now, half a second clear of Jim Ott. and everyone else just single file right now, just biding their time.
Yeah, it is good to see everybody single file as of right now. Nobody's trying to make the dive, but as I say that, the 30 kind of made the dive into turn number 1 and 2. Not able to make the pass, but he's going to be on his inside going into 3 and 4. So look for Randall Robertson to get that inside line momentum going. It looks like the number 9 of Eric Andrews is going to follow suit. Does the number 27 have anything as he gets into the wall just a little bit? Eric's going to drop back down low, and there's going to be a 2-for-1 in 1 and 2.
They're going to be 2-for-1 possible opportunity here. Is 27. Just you saw it earlier a couple cautions ago with the 72. Just that outside, just once he kind of made that one mistake, he just got railroaded. And then he's 9's not making it too easy here. 27's still hanging tough on that corner panel here. We know Brad can be a little bit of a tough driver here to get around, and he'll successfully now the 9 will get around. So 9 will put 27 one more spot down. The 27 will fall down to 8th position on the racing surface. But 30 as well, now making pressure on the 74 machine of Jason Harrison here as he's hounding the back of that Wrangler machine just in the back in the distance. So I think it's Brubel fighting, again, Eric Andrews as well, as they're still fighting pretty hard. So big fights over, even though it may not be for the lead, they're fighting pretty hard for 6th and 7th and 8th and 9th respectively.
Oh, yeah, especially with everything on the line, a win and you're in for a second round of playoffs. You know, you want to be up front, but you also want to be as clean as you possibly can to get there. As we got another little bit of a battle happening with
also
the 10 and 75.
It's also worth noting as well that, remember, if you get no incident points, you get 3 extra points added to your name, which, again, could make a big difference. Only 2 rounds in the playoffs. That could easily be a decisive situation if you can be incident-free. So you want to be fast, but also not overly aggressive. That can gain you a few extra points.
Yeah, as we look here, the extra bonus points for keeping your truck as clean as you possibly can. Yes, you can get a couple of 0Xs, but once you get a 1X or a 2X or even a 4X, that's where your clean race award goes away, as it looks like Jimmy Ensley was able to get around the number 75, Orion Munoz. And Randall Robertson so far still on the back bumper of the number 74. Got a little bit of a distance between him and Randall Robertson, just walled it. As I was talking about it, but this is going to open up the door for the number 9 machine of Eric Andrews.
Yeah, just a little bit of mistake there by the 30 there, and just easy with this track. One little slight mistake where if you wall it, make a slight mistake, you'll be under pressure. Now the 9 has the inside, which is favorable, and he'll make the successful pass there. So put the 9 ahead of the 30, and the 9 is slowly but sneakily working his way up for the field here. He made a move on Crockett, made a move on Brubel, made a move on Robertson, and now he's up to 6th position trying to hunt down the 74.
Yeah, this is one of the really good tracks that favor the number 9 of Eric Andrews. Is he's won here a few times in the vintage cars, so he knows his way around this track. But that's one thing you don't really want to do. Aero does play a big part, especially at this little short 1 mile track. Aero means everything. You know, sometimes on a different short track like Bristol or Martinsville, aerodynamics do not make a big difference. But with the long corners and somewhat long straightaways, that can play a big part into how quick you can get around this track and how good you can suck up to the car in front of you.
And I'm looking at strategy right now, and we're about to get close to the pit window here because we're on lap 52 right now. Mark Gonzalez last pitted on lap 27, so it's 37:47. That's a little bit 25, 26 laps, so we're getting close to that 30 stint window. And it is worth noting that Dover is a very, very, very tricky pit lane to enter. So it is worth noting at the very least that if green flag pit stops do occur, we may see some drivers maybe try to back it down early and maybe late, and it may allow some drivers like if you're Jim Ott, Mark Thomas, Rick Gonzalez, even Mark Gonzalez as well, to either gain or lose time and possibly jump some spots. So we'll have to keep an eye if it keeps going green when green flag pit stops occur. But speaking of drivers gaining and losing time, Jim Ott slowly eating into Mark Gonzalez's time here. As it was 0.6 few laps ago. It's now down to 0.4, and he's slowly reeling him in at the very least. As Zachary Woods just made a move on Brendan Polt, but I think Brendan Polt is obviously just made a mistake.
Yeah, right now looking at the battle between the 74 and the number 7 of Ricky Gonzalez and Jason Harrison. Jason running that conservative line right in the middle, diamonding it down into the inside as Ricky Gonzalez isn't trying to get his truck down to the inside. But like you said earlier on that last caution, when would you want to pit? Would you want to pit, be back in the back, or would you want to be up front? And this is why I would say the long green flag runs is that we're seeing right now, that would be one of the reasons why I would like to pit, so that way I could be out a little bit longer than everybody else. I have a pit road all to myself, pretty much, as a
Ooh,
pit road.
30 making a move on the 9. Sorry, you continue. Sorry, I just want to point that out. Continue on.
The pit road speed is only 35 miles an hour, as they're getting ready to go 3 wide with Matt Crockett, the 9 and the 30. Now the 9 and the 10 are side by side, the 30 making the big move, and that's going to drop Eric Andrews back down to 8th. But trying to get your truck going from 170 mile an hour down to 35 into pit lane without hitting the wall, locking up the tires, or spinning is a tough task on its own.
Yeah, that's a very easier said than done thing, and at certain tracks it's a lot easier than others. Jason Harrison is now gotten around Ricky Gonzalez, so Jason Harrison has spent like 5-10 laps hounding the back of Ricky Gonzalez, and he's finally gotten around the 74 machine. So put the 74 up to 4th, and now but the gap is 1.8 from him to Mark Thomas, so it's going to be a little bit of a harder run to get up to podium position, but we'll see what the 74 machine can do. But keeping an eye on the major battle we have is the 10, 30, they're relatively close, and then behind them, you got 27 to 9 as 27 actually gets around the 9. And it's just been 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Sorry, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th have been fighting hard for the past 20 laps. Ever since that last restart, they've been fighting hard, and it hasn't given up anything else. And like I said, coming close to green flag pit stops, an undercut could easily get you back in this fight. It's another 10, going to try to take the inside here on the 30, and possibly try to clear going into 1 and 2. And he'll get a good run here off corner, diamond it right, and he'll make it happen. So put the 10 back with the 30. Gonna answer back here possibly in the corner if he gets a good run. Will he feint to the inside? No, he'll not. So he'll just kind of just keep it honest, tuck back in line, and 30's coming in along with a 27 this time by.
So these guys, had to do a little bit of a lockup there with the number 27 as they make their dive down pit road. But now we got a good battle here with the number 04 and the 50. The 50 has caught the 04, and the 04 is going to go down into pit lane this time by as he gets in nice and easy. And now we got the one and only Mark Gonzalez and Mark Thomas, P1 and P2, respectively, as we get to look at the number 88 as he gets into the wall a little bit. He's got a little bit of right side damage as well, so he's going to have a little bit of damage to fix when he goes into pit lane. Not sure if he got a little bit loose, got to the wall as he gets into the wall again there, but now he's got a lap traffic of the 76 in front of him as the 74 and 7 are down pit lane.
Yeah, most drivers are going to pit. If you pit on lap 27, you're probably coming in this time or the next time. Most drivers have elected to do that. The only drivers that did not, actually every driver that pitted on that, any driver that didn't pit under that last caution has officially come down the pit lane or is coming down as we speak right now with the 88 machine. So that will take care of that, and it will inherit the lead at the very least to the drivers that stayed out longer on the last caution, which would be some of our drivers. Actually, Mark Thomas is still on the track making laps. My mistake. So Mark Thomas is still going.
Yeah, Mark Thomas is out there on track. He may be bringing it in this time by. Mark Thomas almost gets hit. Oh, he missed pit lane. He missed pit lane. Now Mark Thomas, gets a little bit loose. Keep it off the wall. Trisket, good job, buddy. He's got to go all the way back around. Hopefully he's got enough fuel to make it all the way around and go down 35 miles an hour into pit lane. So move Mark Thomas still in the lead, but that's going to open up the door for Matt Crockett.
Yeah, he's going to take it.
As Matt Crockett will inherit the lead this time by.
Yeah, he's going to take it very conservative this time. He knew after that last mistake he wasn't taking that same mistake twice. And he'll get it low down, and he'll get in the pit lane, but he definitely is going to cost himself some time here. He was just ahead of Jim Ott, or at least side by side with Jim Ott when they came in the pit lane, and now he's definitely going to be up behind Jim Ott coming out because of that time loss. But how farther back will he be? We'll have to wait and see how it plays out in the stops here. But the lead will be inherited to Matt Crockett, Eric Andrews 2nd, Joe Mott 4th, Zachary Woods 5th, Brendan Polt 6th, and after all pit stops play out, Mark Gonzalez will be your de facto leader, but he will be currently net P6. So we'll have to wait for the other 5 to pit. But Brendan Polt pitting this time by. I won't be shocked if the other drivers elect to come in around.
Yeah, it looks like Matt Crockett's running the middle of the track going down the backstretch. Not sure if that's a signal to other drivers that, hey,
Nope,
couple
he's
laps
staying
are
out.
going to come in as they're still staying out. The number 9 has the 75 of Ryan Munoz on his inside. Ryan is on fresh tires. He's just going to let him go by. Excuse me. As now he's got Jimmy Inslee catching him going down the backstretch. And looks like the 50 of Mark Thomas was able to get back around the number 10 of Matt Crockett. So move Mark Thomas back up to
He'd be 12, but look how much time he lost, though. He lost spot to Caleb Collins, Ricky Gonzalez, Brad Poole, Jason Harrison, Randall Robinson, Jim Ott. So he was second, net P2, net P3 when he pitted, and it just shows how simple pit mistake threw him way behind the 8 ball there as he lost all that time and had a little bit of a slower stop in comparison to everyone else around him. So just not overall good just situation there for the number 50 machine. But Mark Gonzalez, and actually Jim Ott, Mark Gonzalez, relatively close on track right now. Could be worth noting because that's de facto P1 battle right now.
Yeah, these guys have pretty much been the class of the field since other people took their departure, but it looks like Brendan Polt, Zach Woods, Eric Andrews, and the 013 are all down pit lane this time by. So now we're going to see when the number 10 machine of Matt Crockett takes his departure into pit lane. But so
Actually,
far,
this time by.
this
10's coming in this
by.
time by, along with the 9. Actually, 9's already in the pit lane, so 10's pitting this time by, and now we'll inherit the lead back to the 80 machine.
Yeah, he's got to go all the way back on around, but with pit lane being 35 miles an hour, you are able to get the lead back as Mark Gonzalez and Jim Ott are respectively running for P number 1 as you got Mark Gonzalez, Jim Ott, Randall Robertson, Jason Harrison, your top 5. And that'll put Brad Bubel actually P number 5 as Matt Crockett will fall down the order.
Yep, Matt Crockett just gonna fall down because just showed they were on fresher tires and they just took advantage of that. And I think Matt Crockett was kind of hoping for a caution, possibly an equalizer on strategy or something. He's still got one more stop to go, so he'll have a chance to make that happen. He can go longer in the tooth, but he'll still have to pit. As do have a wreck on the front there. That may have been a caution a little bit too late, as it's somewhere on the front. 75 called something out.
The 61
of Zachary Woods.
That will bring out a caution as we're going to go ahead and take a replay of this to see exactly what happened. Zach Woods just got loose out of turn number 4, bounces it off the inside wall, and backs it off the track. So smart thinking by the number 61 to get it off the racing surface as best as he possibly can. Gets it back going and get that truck back in a pit lane and get that truck fixed. But while we were looking at that, I did notice Brendan Polt has made 4 consecutive pit stops back to back to back and lost 5 laps due to going back and forth through pit lane. But now as we are under caution, we're going to go ahead and try our in-race reporter this time again. The number 9 of Eric Andrews. This is Dylan and Kevin in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
All right, yay, we get to talk to you this time. Kind of walk us through how this race is going for you and how bad was the tire wear after that long green flag run?
Oh man, I went a full stint on that run, and I mean, just to hang on to it is something else. I mean, it's it really, I mean, you can really see when the guys come out with new tires, a big difference in tires. So I was lucky there. I'm actually the lucky dog, so that'll help me get back on the lead lap there. But I got a little bit of right front damage. I barely hit the wall, 0x, but barely hit the wall. Gave me a little bit of right front damage, and it really changed the handle of the truck. So yeah, I hate to use a fast repair. Now I got both of them, but I hate to use a fast repair for just that little bit. But you know, I also hate to be. It makes a big difference in handling. So
Yeah. So whenever you catch back up to the field, if pit lane is still open, you're gonna duck down into pit lane, get fresh rubber, and more fuel, or is your plan just to stay out on the tires that you got and hope for another quick caution?
If these guys catch up, and yeah, I'm the lucky dog, so if they can catch up, I'm gonna stay behind, go in and get in the pits, see what I can get taken care of. I got brand new tires. I didn't even made just that lap right there was actually I was just coming out on the pits whenever it came out. So
I do. It's still there.
Eric?
yeah, here I am. I'm
There
back.
you are. Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that. But no, yeah, I'm gonna head on in and
Fill
go
up
in
on
and
fuel.
not get tires. My tires are brand new, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to top off on fuel and see if I can get that damage fixed like this without having to use a fast repair, just because fast repairs in this thing, especially when you bunch everybody up like this, is pretty key to have. So
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, we're gonna go ahead and let you take your little pit stop, and we're gonna go ahead and throw you back up there with Ricky, Mark, and Zach Woods, and hopefully we'll be talking to you at the end of this thing.
alrighty, appreciate it, guys. Yep. Yeah, I decided to choose to use a fast repair there. So yep, I'm gonna head back out here on the track and head back out there. I figured I might as well. I mean, we got 45 to go, so it's gonna be an interesting ordeal. So I said, being lucky dog gonna be at the back of the pack here, so I gotta be cautious. But hopefully another quick caution comes out and I'm not involved in it. You know, we'll go from there. I'm sitting P11 right now, so we'll see what happens.
All right, buddy. Well, we'll talk to you in a little bit.
Alrighty, thank you guys.
All right, that was our in-race supporter, the number 9 of Eric Andrews. You heard him sit there and say he burned a fast repair. He also did say that is something that you want to save towards the end, especially if everybody's bunched back up. But something happened to the number 88. He has
Oh.
dropped to the back. So I wonder
Yeah,
if he
and
got
he's pitting this time as well. He's super slow on circuit. And he's stopping at the pit lane entrance.
He
Bits of it.
possibly had to wait for the number 7. Yep, he had to wait for the 75 to get around him. So he did not get a passing under yellow. So the number 88 possibly might have had a drive-through.
Yeah, he's coming down right now for a drive-through. 71's been complaining that he's had some penalty issues as well. That's why he's pitted multiple times, because he wasn't able to serve it. And by drive-through and stop and go, clarification issues. Just worth noting on that point. But yeah, that's just not good for the 88, as he's now down the pit lane here, and we're going green this time by. So probably gonna end up losing a lap.
Yeah, that's definitely something that you don't really want to see, as Matt Crockett inherited the lead back. So the 10 goes down pit lane, able to get the lead back, but he's got
Probably
Jim Ott on his
similar-
outside.
Yeah, similar shades to what happened last week at Charlotte Roval with Zachary Woods. Not Zachary Woods, Mark Thomas. So, yeah, just played the caution right, and it worked out. Here we go. Race control, into control. Cannot move lane too early.
Oh,
Jim
Brad
gets
Bubell,
hooked into the
or
wall.
Jim Ott
Yeah, Jim.
into the outside wall, spun the tires just a little bit. Gonna go ahead and jump onto
No caution.
Jim Ott's machine there and see exactly what happened. We're gonna go ahead and take a little bit of a replay here. We gotta rewind it ourselves due to SDK
Well, while you do that,
not.
we got a battle for the lead.
Oh, no. So we're gonna go ahead and keep rewinding. Wonder
While that
if
happens,
he
I'll quick-
just got. Yeah, he just spun the tires, got up in the wall. Good
Oh,
eye by him to
Yep.
keep it up there. But while you were talking about that, Randall Robertson
makes a move
inherits,
for the lead.
takes the lead away from Matt Crockett, but Matt Crockett might not be wanting to back down this time by, as the 071 is going down pit lane again. So,
Pedally. Can't serve it. That's what the problem is with him.
ooh, yeah, that's something that you don't really want to do. As the Brad Bubell and the number 27, he's on the right on the back bumper of the number 10. Going to try to make it a P number 2, as Matt Crockett is defending that position ever so slightly. But so far in the back, we have a good battle between the 72, the 013, and the number 61 of Zach Woods.
Well, Zach Woods is a couple daps down,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
he's not for position. But he's still fighting. As 10, yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that battle there. Let me switch back over to, this battle here. You can see 7 just holding station here on the 75 and making it work at the very least. I'm also keeping a battle up here at the top half. 74 is hounding the back of the 27, Brad. And again, they don't want to let Randall Robinson drive onto the distance. That's what happened multiple times. 27 senses it. Going to try to make a move onto the 10 here on the inside. He knows he needs to get going here and get on the giddy up, or else the 88's going to, the 30's going to drive away here. So he needs to make it quick. But the 10 has the freshest tires in the field. So he isn't going to be a spring chicken per se to make a move happen. And the 27 just can't get clear. Side by side going into 3 again. 74 just kind of licking his chops in the distance. Pick the lane. That's the fastest. And we'll see what happens. Mark Thomas, remember, thanks to that caution, actually got to equalize the field up here. And the 27 will finally be able to clear. 74 going to be next man up, and the 50 going to follow suit. And it looks like the 10's going to end up getting railroaded here. He's going to try to find a way to the bottom, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Yeah, he ended up losing 2 positions on that one
Maybe the
little
third one.
corner, as the 27 kind of looked like he got a little bit tight, got up in front of Matt Crockett. Matt Crockett did the smart thing, checked up just a tad a little bit instead of putting himself in the wall and wrecking the number 27. So good call by the number 10. But now he's got Mark Thomas all over his back bumper in that bad obsession number 50. And we're going to see if Mark Thomas makes the lunge here. Not close enough for it, but I say within about a lap or 2. As I say that, Mark Thomas is alongside of the number 10, and now we have another battle for P number 5 as Ricky Gonzalez. He's going to follow suit with the number 50, and that's going to drop Matt Crockett down another 2 positions.
It's basically Martinsville short track vibes. If you give up that bottom, you're kind of stuck. And right now that's the case. He just can't get back in rhythm and kind of get himself flowing again, because every time he tries to get down, another car is like, I want that bottom, and keeps hounding him. So he's only positive. So 75 is the end of that train, and he'll have time if he can get himself clear for 75, he'll have time to get regrouped. But the problem is he's gone from second. That will take him all the way down to 7th if it successfully happens. So he's going to finally get down here. Hopefully try to clear the 75. He will. So the bleeding will hopefully stop here, but he's still lost a net couple of positions because of it.
But look who joined the party, the number 88 of Mark Gonzalez. Driving like a madman out here. He's proving that he can be up there. He's going to force it 3 wide. Ducks behind the number 10. Thought better of it, as this track is not a track where you want to go 3 wide. And now Mark Gonzalez is kind of in a pickle. He can't get around the number 75 as he makes the move here. Gets in the wall a little bit squirrely. Now he's going to start working on the number 10 of Matt Crockett, as I just looked and seen a little bit of a smoke cloud. Not sure exactly what happened, but now he's going to work on the inside of Matt Crockett going into turn 3, and he's going to make that pass on Matt Crockett.
Yep, and now he's going to make it happen here, and he's going to make it happen, and then just add insult to injury. It's not going to defend the 70 off long for long, as that's happened, and the Barney machine is blinking a little bit here, so it may be worth noting to keep an eye on as well. That could possibly trigger a caution if he doesn't know where he is, because he is relatively close to the 10. So I have to keep an eye on that right now. But again, you're not missing anything up front. Randall Robinson's game has a 2.1 second gap on Brad, and they're all pretty much single file all the way down. It's the closest battle we currently have on the circuit.
Yeah, you see Eric Andrews back there behind the number 053. He's kind of keeping his distance. He notices that the 053 is blinking a little bit. He doesn't want to be too close to where if he does blink out and he comes back, he doesn't want to hook him. As we have a battle for second, as the 27 and 74 going at it, and the 74 is going to take the inside away from the 27, and he's going to be along his door coming out of turn number 2. And move the 74 up to P number 2, as Mark Thomas is back there licking his chops, like you said, waiting for another position to open up for the number 50 truck.
Just making moves happen here, making them work. And Jason Harrison wants to try to catch Randall Robinson. Again, Randall Robinson, our pole sitter, started off the race hot, kind of got buried in the middle section per se, with just in a situation. Now he's able to get some clear track again. He's made it work. But some drivers, like for instance the 88 machine Mark Gonzalez, if he gets under caution, he'll be back in this, and it may be worth noting on his point, along with Jason Harrison as well. He seems pretty fast per se. He's running slightly faster lap times than Randall Robinson per lap, but the problem is he's 2.4 seconds back. So even if he can kind of reel him up, it's highly unlikely he can catch him with the remaining laps unless he really puts down some heaters. Further back, though, we see the 50 machine of Mark Thomas. He's counting the back of Brad. Brad seems to really be struggling on the long run, per se. He has a good short run car, but long run's going to be a bit of his kryptonite. Is now going to go into one. The 50 gets a relatively good run there. Going to kind of force 27 up the track just a bit, and is going to make the pass happen. So put the 50 in the third, but Brad is still fighting pretty hard here. Going to try to keep the outside here, but it's not going to be enough. Put the 50 up third and put Brad down the fourth.
As we have a battle between the Gonzalez brothers, and Ricky Gonzalez lets his brother Mark Gonzalez go by. And I would like to apologize for the dog barking in the background. My sister decided it was a good time to start sweeping the front room. And my dog does not like sweepers. I don't think any dog does. So he was kind of going ballistic down here as the 27 takes an early exit into pit lane. And he's going to go get fresh rubber and some more fuel. And that's going to move Matt Crockett up a position as it just said Brendan Polk. Oh, that was long ago.
Long ago.
Yeah. I just happened to see it.
Yep. Brad Poole obviously was struggling there. It makes sense from the pit here. They are in the window. If you pit now, you will make it to the end on about 23 laps. So it makes sense to pit now. Clear fresh pit stops. No pressure behind. Maybe try to make it happen. Oh, we do see a little bit of a stack up the pit there. I think the 10 may have gotten hit the driver coming in on the pit lane there. And it was the purple machine of the Barney machine as the 10 just ran into the back of him. So we wonder if he's got any damage in that 10 machine.
Yeah, his front end is a little bit crinkled on
Oh,
that.
and also hit the 04 as well.
Oh, no. Jimmy Inslee finally bringing it down. I don't think he went down pit road, but he is on the inside, so he might be pitting this time by. As we got the Barney machine going into pit road. Hopefully no leaders come in as...
Oh, 30's in this time by, and he's going to get stacked up behind the 04 a little bit there. 30's between the 04 and the Barney machine. Again, probably lost a little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit of time there.
Yeah, no damage on the number 30, so you don't have to worry about that. Was able to keep it off the number 04, but that's going to inherit the lead to the 74 of Jason Harrison. And he is pitting now. That's going to move Mark Thomas up into the lead, and Mark Gonzalez is pitting now. But look at Ricky Gonzalez. He's going to get his one lap back as he is now on the lead. Or no, he's actually still one lap down. So Mark Thomas should be making his way down pit lane, possibly in a lap or two, and we might...
I assume this time by. He needs to... Yeah, he's staying out one more here.
He's staying out one more. Let's see if he can get down into pit lane the first time and not have to do another reach, go all the way back around, and have to go in again and lose a little bit more time.
The problem is he's losing a lot of time in the daylights to the drivers around him in the situation. So he needs to kind of hurry it on up and get on in because he's just losing time here. But I think in the back of his mind, he also knows we just saw what happened with the 10 machine. If a caution comes out while you're in pit lane, the game will reward you your position on track P1. So there's an element of strategy there. If he can keep it out long enough and get a caution class,
there's a spin. Mark Gonzalez.
Yep.
Spins coming out of pit road and not sure exactly what happened. We're going to go ahead and take a look back here as Mark Gonzalez, we're going to leave it here. We're going to go to the chase camera as he gets onto the gas just possibly a little bit too hard and ends up getting a little bit loose. You can see it there.
Squirrely.
It's already getting loose and 90 degrees. That might possibly be a drive-through for unsafe pit exit as he is back down pit road.
Yep.
So another tough break for Mark Gonzalez, but Mark Thomas still out there on those tires. Your top three will be the number 50, the 75 of Ryan Munoz having a wonderful race, and you have the number 9 of Eric Andrews still out there.
But they're all going to have to pit along with the 10. So right now, inherent lead is the 30. Brad Bull in second. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think, look at the stop. 74 remember, was in second ahead of Brad Bull when he came out, and just shows you the power of the undercut, as Brad Bull was able to clearly jump him. And I think he may have also had a slightly slower start, Jason Harrison, as he's lost time to Ricky Gonzalez. Mark Crockett in this time by. He'll give up a spot, so it's going to inherit spots up to everyone else, up one spot. But top three still out on the racing surface.
Yeah, looking at Jason Harrison's stop, 52 seconds. So look at about 13 to 14 seconds of your stop. You just got to take the 50 seconds into pit lane. But yeah.
But in comparison, yeah, Harrison had a 46-second stop, at least in my window here, and the drivers around him were slightly faster, at least on average. So it just shows just the power of the undercut. 50 in this time by, so he will be pitting, and I assume Munoz and Andrews will be following in relatively soon.
Ryan Munoz is going to be credited for leading that lap as Matt Crockett's on his inside. And the number 9 and the 75 are going to stay out an extra lap or maybe 2. But
for a caution.
as they go back around, it looks like the 75, he's going to duck it into pit lane. So the
74 just got around of the 7. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, I see that now coming into the camera frame as we're going to go ahead and jump over to Jason Harrison, if I can get... there it goes. The 74 got around the number 7 of Ricky Gonzalez, but now Eric Andrews is your race leader with Munoz in second, but will drop down the order, and Randall Robertson will take over the second position as Eric Andrews still has to make his final pit stop.
Well, he's got 11 more laps. If he somehow got 11 laps magically in that car, he can win this race, but there's no way. That would be a stretch and a half. Like, we said the stint's 33, so there's no way you can make it 10. He has to pit. It's not even an if, it's a when the situation.
Yeah, with Eric Andrews, I know for us, when we race the vintage cars, when we're under caution or anything like that, we'll shut the truck off, or we'll shut the car off. We'll ride around in fourth, barely putting any throttle.
9 in this time. So he's really stretched out, maybe hoping for a caution or something, but it just won't come. And he'll be pitting in this time by the number 9 machine, which will inherit the lead over Randall Robinson, who is 3.8 clear of Brad Bull. So this is Randall Robinson's race to lose.
Eric Andrews had to lock him up there, getting into pit lane, but there is Jim Ott with Randall Robertson right in front of him. And now they got the 76 of Joseph Sullivan in front of them, too. Now, if you were the race leader, Kevin, would you want to hurry up and get around this lap traffic, or do you just want to stay behind them, knowing you have a big enough gap between you and second place? Would you want to open that gap even more, or would you want to keep the gap where it is and just ride these last 8 laps?
Part of me wants to make the pass because you never know if there's a lap car ahead of you, what he'll do in a situation. If he, like, the line kind of kicks up or something. But the problem is that the cars behind him, they're currently 4.4 seconds back. They still got to get around 3 more lap cars, including if he makes any more happen. So if I'm the 30, I'm playing station. If I see an opportunity to make a pass, I'll take it. But if the car like the 88, for instance, we know
the
is pretty
04
fast.
into the wall.
Well,
Sorry to
speaking of
cut
just
you
said-
off, but with Mark Gonzalez on his inside, the 30 wasn't able to get out of the way, and that's going to open up the gap a little bit more for the number 74. Luckily, no damage to that number 30, but now he's got the late Matt Crockett on his back bumper now, as Mark Gonzalez was trying to get his lap back. Ended up got one of his laps back, and now the 30 is under fire from the number 10. And that's just something you don't really want to see, with a lap car getting a little bit tight in front of you, keeping it up against the wall, and you have nowhere to go, and you have to check up to not hit that guy in front of you.
As I was just saying to, like, you don't know if the lap car will make a mistake in front of you in that situation. But at the same time, you don't want to push and end up, putting yourself in a worse situation. So it luckily didn't cost him that much. At this point, I'd be kind of just letting the lap cars go and just be like, all right, just not worth it. 3.3 seconds, just not worth it. Actually, Jason Harris actually got around Brad Bull, so 3.3 seconds to the 74 machine with only under 5 laps to go. I'm taking my chances.
Yeah, we just seen there, Randall Robertson let the 75 and the 10 go. They're not battling for... They are battling for position. They are on the lead lap. So look for Matt Crockett to hold off the number 75 for P number 6. That'll be a good points day for the number 10 machine, but it'll be a really good points day for the number 30, making it 4 wins on the season if he gets this done, as the 04 has taken it behind the wall, not going to be able to finish out this race, and that's going to put a little bit of a dampening on the number 04's race.
Mm-hmm. So we're gonna see here again. Just gonna PlayStation, make it work. 2.5. The gap has fallen, but that's probably just because Randall's playing it smart here. And we're gonna hit 2 to go this time by. And again, only thing that can really stop the 30 in the Joker machine from clinching his next round of the playoffs is Divine Intervention. As the 10 and the 75 fighting hard ahead of him may be the cause of a little bit of an extra gray hair popping on the 30's head, but right now, 74 can only do is look and watch as a 30 goes to 3 and 4, and he's going to start the white flag lap this time by.
So as they come around, the white flag is out one more time for the Truck Series at Dover. No more cautions can come out. All Randall Robertson has to do is get through 1 and 2, and then get through 3 and 4, and he's got this race won. But look how much of a gap that has closed. It went from 4 seconds down to 2. Not enough time to get the win from the number 30, but a good points night for the top 3 as Randall Robertson crosses the start finish line for the 4th time winner as this goes into the next round of playoffs.
Yep, and he will now be clinching the next round of playoffs, so he does not have to worry about the tricky triangle, and he will be on to the next round. Jason Harrison finishes second. Brad Bull, good recovery drive, finishes third. Ricky Gonzalez, driver, I don't think we've talked about much this today, ends up finishing fourth. So hat tip to him. Art Thomas rounds out the top 5. So overall, kind of a good race here per se. Pretty strong at showing. 30 made that Joker machine work pretty strong, and on to the next round he goes.
Yeah, Matt Crockett ended up getting passed by Ryan Munoz. He finishes 7th. Eric Andrews finishing 8th. Jimmy Ensley in 9th. Mark Gonzalez 4 laps down in 10th. Joe Morant in 11th. Caleb Collins in 12th. Joseph Sullivan in 13th. Zach Woods in 14th. Jim Ott in 15th. Brandon Polt in 16th. And John Crane rounding out your 17-car field in 17th. While we get ready for these guys to get into the broadcast booth, we'll go ahead and see if anybody is in there. Do not see anybody. We'll make an announcement. As we're going to wait for the top 3 to make their way into the broadcast waiting room, and while we do that, we'll go ahead and go down the race order momentarily.
Okay.
So with that being said, it is Randall Robertson clinching the 4th win on the season, making his Pocono race a little bit easier than most. Jason Harrison finishing 2nd, Brad Bubell in 3rd, Ricky Gonzalez in 4th, Mark Thomas in 5th, Ryan Munoz in 6th, Matt Crockett in 7th, Eric Andrews in 8th, Jimmy Ensley in 9th, Mark Gonzalez in 10th, Joe Morant in 11th, Caleb Collins in 12th, Joseph Sullivan in 13th, Zach Woods 14th, Jim Ott 15th, Brandon Polt 16th, and Jonathan Crane rounding out 17th position. As we still wait on the top 3, we have 1st and 2nd in there, just waiting for Brad Bubell to hop into the broadcast waiting room, and we'll go ahead and start with the interviews. But anything, before we start doing that, is there anything you could take away from racing tonight, Kevin?
Early in the race, it's a lot of spread cautions. The ones that kind of got their feet under them, they kind of kept it green to the end. So tires kind of got eaten a lot quick, and it was the race of trying to get as much the fresh tires as you can in the car. And Randall Robinson is still a threat for this playoffs. Those are my three major takeaways.
Those are 3 good takeaways. As we got our 3rd place in the broadcast booth, we'll go ahead and let you, Kevin, go away with Brad Bubell.
All right, Brad Bull, this is Kevin and Dylan in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
All right. I guess we'll start off with qualifying. Is you had a relatively okay qualifying performance. Actually, you didn't have a good qualifying. You actually started in the back. So I guess take me through your kind of qualifying procedure. What caused you to have such a rough qualifying?
Yeah, I skimmed the wall coming off of 4 to take the white flag lap, and then kind of got wall glued. So I got 0x on the front end of the lap and a 0x on the back end of the lap, which basically DQ'd me from qualifying. So I was like, all right, well, guess I'm going to be digging from the back then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you did make that work though. I guess the next question we do have is kind of during the race. It did seem like you were kind of pitting early in your cautions, pitting early in the cautions. So I guess my question is, did you? Obviously, it's kind of stupid to ask a race car driver, do you like fresh tires? Because fresh tires are definitely a strong advantage. But I guess my question is, how strong were the fresh tires in comparison to older tires around Dover? As it seemed like there was kind of a stronger advantage per se than normally.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Dover's such a tough track that's so hard on the right front tire and just the right side of the car in general because it's under so much load. So I felt like anytime after about 8 to 10 laps, I mean, you could really feel the right front start to wear. You had to back up the corners. You had to roll through the throttle a little bit more, wait to pick it up a little bit later. So early on, also I was in the back, so I was like, I might as well just keep getting fresh tires until I get up in the mix. But yeah, tires were definitely key, and I short pitted a few times throughout some of those long runs as well, just to get a fresh set on because the car just rotated so much better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it did seem like you were definitely going for the undercut there because he definitely seemed very strong on the short term, but long term, car seemed to struggle at least a little bit. Last question will be then, you did get a podium here today. How do you feel about Pocono next week? Because with last round for the next round, the cutoff for the playoff, the next round is the cutoff for the first 4 being eliminated. You put yourself in a strong situation here today, but Pocono, obviously, if you have a mistake there, you may not be locked. So how do you feel about Pocono?
Yeah, I'm super excited about Pocono. It's one of my better tracks and one of the ones that I enjoy on iRacing. I would say we're going from one of my absolute least favorite tracks, which is Dover. I've always been bad here, so I'll take a top 3 finish. I tear up the right front so bad, and then after, kind of like you said, I'm pretty solid on the short run, but once you get 15, 20 laps on the tires, I'm pretty much out to lunch. So I'm glad that race is over and I was able to salvage a good finish. But look forward to next week. I'm a big fan of Pocono and run a lot of races there and enjoy that track. So I'm looking forward to running pretty well there.
At least you enjoy Pocono, because I know Pocono is definitely a mixed bag. I know my co-commentator here doesn't like Pocono, so it's definitely a little bit of a mixed bag situation. Speaking of my co-commentator, Dylan, do you have anything you want to add? Any questions you want to throw out? Anything?
No, not necessarily. Just a really good run from the number 27 machine. You know, you pick up a P number 3. That's going to help your points going into Pocono. And before we let you get on out of here, the floor is yours. Anybody want to give a shout out to and a shout out and special thanks to?
No, yeah, I'm just looking forward to next week, and shout out to my teammate Randall Robertson, another W. I think that's 4 on the season for him, so he's been just racking them up. So congrats to him, and looking forward to next week.
All right. That will be our third place finisher of Brad Bubell, the number 27. And hopefully we'll be talking to you next week.
Thanks a lot. Have a good weekend.
You as well. Moving on to our second place finisher, it would be the number 74, who came back from the back all the way up to the front, was up front pretty much the whole race. Jason Harrison, this is Dylan and Kevin in the booth. You get a copy.
Hey guys, I got you.
All right, well, it's been a while since we got to talk to you. Michigan, to be in fact. And,
Yeah.
well, you made it to the playoffs. You finished P number 2. Kind of walk us through your race there. Were you hoping for a late race caution, or were you just trying to make up as much time on Randall Robertson to get your second win of the season?
I was just trying to make up as much time as I could. You know, a caution wouldn't have bothered me. I think it would have been kind of exciting there at the end to, have a shootout. But, green flag running is what I really like to do. And, we had a little rocky start there at the beginning, but we got her sorted out and got some green flag run going.
Yeah, excuse me. I did. My co-commentator here, Kevin, actually asked me a pretty good question throughout the run. If you guys didn't have a lot of cautions and you guys went on to a long green flag run, what would your strategy have been? Would you have pit every single time for those free tires and free fuel?
or would you have done the same exact strategy as some of those competitors out there, taking a different pit strategy over the ones that pit every time?
Well, tires are huge for sure. That's tough to say. I mean, since we had so many cautions, it kind of jumbled everything up. But I'd have probably been on the about every 30 lap cycle there if we would have been clean and green, and maybe tried to undercut once or twice to see what would happen. But green flag, that's what I love running.
Yeah, and this league, this series, anything in core does have a lot of green flag runs. Yes, you do have your short tracks. Cue up the Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin incident, but
Right.
you do move on to Pocono next week. Is that a track that you're looking forward to, or is that just a track where you're just hoping for the best and letting her eat?
No, actually, I like Pocono. It's been good to me before. It's a lot of fun. Caution laps are a little boring there. I ain't gonna lie, but no, it's an exciting racetrack to go to. It's everything's different there. Each turn is different, and it doesn't take much to get off in one of them, and distracts you for the rest of your run to the next corners.
Yeah, that is true. Well, that's going to do it for questions for me. Kevin, do you have any questions for our second place finisher of Jason Harrison?
I don't think I got much else to add here, so I guess we'll do what we usually do. Anything you want to shout out? The floor is yours.
All right, thanks, guys. I'd like to thank you guys up there for broadcasting the league, friends and family for watching, and just enjoyed doing this and hanging out with you guys every Tuesday.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming out every week, giving us a good show. So, with that being said, we will see you next week at Pocono, and we're going to see if you can put that number 74 Wrangler machine in victory lane.
All right, thanks, guys. Looking forward to it.
All right, I'll go ahead and move him down to the broadcast waiting room, and we'll go ahead and move on to our race winner of Randall Robertson. Kevin, go ahead and take it away.
All right, Randy, you got it's Kevin and Dylan in the booth.
I do. Dylan, Kevin, how's it going?
Good to hear from you. I guess we'll start off with qualifying because it seems like a good place to start. Every book has a beginning. You looked pretty strong during qualifying there. You were pretty much the fastest car out there. So how did your truck feel in single car pace?
Single car up front, it felt awesome for the first 10, 15 laps. So that was all good. I really, probably more so than any race this season, I wanted the pole, needed the pole for the clean air and everything that gives. So got it and was able to have a good run there early, but and pitted like a dummy. Just completely did my math wrong and should have stayed out, but ended up getting into the middle of the pack there and having to make it a little more interesting than I wanted to.
Yeah, because speaking of being in the pack, that was going to be my next kind of train of thought there, is that you did seem like you were struggling a little bit in the pack, per se, because as you saw other drivers like Mark Gonzalez in the 88, for instance, we'll use him as an example, he was carving his way through the field like a hot knife through butter is the word I was looking for. It seemed like you struggled a little bit. Now, maybe that was just being a little bit more cautious, but did the truck handle a little bit worse when you're like 8th, 9th, 10th, respectively?
A lot worse. I mean, I would say it was probably 70% just tightness, basically. I mean, it already doesn't want to turn a lot up front, and I mean this goes for pretty much any track, right? Not just Dover.
True.
Just the truck with the fuel setup how it is, they always just tend to be tighter in general. So it's more manageable up front, a lot more manageable up front, but then you get into the pack, and I mean, even if you're just behind, a single truck, you can feel the difference, and then you throw a few more up in front of you, and you really have to change the way you approach the track. So I'd say it was 70% just the nature of the truck and the tightness, but then 30% just being cautious. I mean, this was definitely more of a chaotic race than we've seen this season. So I didn't want to get back there and get caught up in something. So just trying to stay alert.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because you do get points if you keep a 0x along with that. I guess we got two more here. One will be, obviously, you won here today. You had a strong performance, and obviously winning here today, you've clinched your spot in the next round of playoffs. But regardless, how do you feel about Pocono? Because even though the pressure is off, you still probably want to go out there and dominate Pocono to show you're the cream of the crop. So, what's your opinion on Pocono?
I like Pocono. I mean, Dover is actually my favorite track hands down, bar none, in the series or around the service. So I think I came in tonight with probably more pressure on myself, a little bit of stress on myself, more so than any other race this season, just because I really love Dover. I feel like I'm really good at Dover, and just didn't want to come home with anything less than a win. So, but yeah, as far as Pocono goes, definitely not in the same stratosphere as Dover for my liking, but it's been a good track to me. So I'm really optimistic for it, and um, getting into kind of one of those bigger tracks where you draft, but it's not like necessarily a draft lock track. So there's still a lot of like technique and everything that has to go into it.
And I'll throw out one more question before I let Dylan, if he's got anything to ask. Obviously, you made it to the next round of playoffs. If you had to pick between the true tracks, Bristol or Auto Club, where do you think you're stronger?
Bristol, 100%. Bristol's probably top 5 for me on the surface as well. Really, when I looked at the schedule at the beginning of the season, the playoff races, I was like, man, if I just get to the playoffs, I should be in really good shape because of Dover, because of Bristol, because of Pocono to a big extent, but also Kansas. I think Kansas is probably up there in the top 3 for me. So if Darlington would have been in there somewhere, it would have been like the best setup of tracks that I could have asked for. So yeah, really looking forward to Bristol, and I haven't been there in a very long time, but I think that will be much better than Auto Club. If you look back at Michigan this season, I think it'll probably run a lot like that. And Michigan was probably my worst race. I don't even think I finished it due to an accident. But even prior to that, I was maybe running back half of the top 10 for a lot of the race. So yeah.
Well, Dylan, do you got anything you want to add? Any questions you want to throw out there? Anything around those lines?
Yeah, coming to, I believe it was like 6 to go. You had Jim Ott in front of you, and you had the 88 of Mark Gonzalez kind of breathing down your neck. When Jim Ott got into the wall and kind of put Mark to your inside, were you a little bit nervous there to get into the back of the 04, or were you just at that point in time wanting to hurry up, get around the 04, and just set it on cruise control?
I was super cautious. I mean, I think if you go back and look at it, and I haven't, but just from what I think you probably saw was Jim got into the wall, and I checked up, and Mark probably cleared me maybe at the start finish line, and I was just so focused on Jim in front of me and try not to like hit him or run into him that I probably could have turned down and gotten behind Mark a lot sooner than I actually did. But I was just so focused on not hitting Jim. So yeah, that was a little sketchy, but got through it.
Well, you did end up having the number 10 of Matt Crockett kind of move down to the inside. Wasn't able to get around you towards the end, but still a good, strong showing. Congratulations on the 4th win on the season. That will do it for questions for me. So before you get on out of here, does anybody want to give a special shout out to and special thanks?
Yeah, absolutely. My wife Leslie, she's actually watching, so she's seen a couple of wins this season, which was really awesome. So I appreciate her taking the time to have it on and watch what I hope was a good race from a viewer's perspective. Brad Bubel, my teammate here at BR2, he had a good run in P3, so always awesome to see him run well. And Josh Billiter and Joka Graphics for coming on the car mid-season and giving me this really sick paint scheme. Been fortunate enough to put it up front for them or in victory lane a couple of times now. So really appreciate him coming on board.
I guess sitting there saying you needed sponsors for this season paid off as you put Josh and Joka Graphics in victory lane.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, before you get on out of here, I would like to say Barry Keisler in the YouTube chat said congratulations to Robertson. So you do have another fan out there in the YouTube world, as Barry is a
Awesome.
big fan of Core and anything Core does in general. So
Awesome. Appreciate it, Barry.
he's out here every week cheering on everybody. He always wants to see a good race, and you guys do that every week in and week out. And we're going to go ahead and send you back up to the broadcast waiting booth, and hopefully we'll get to see you next week and see a nice, calm, more relaxed Randall Robertson.
For sure, yes. I appreciate it.
All right. See you later, buddy. Well, Kevin, that's going to do it for our in-race interviews and the race itself. We go to Pocono next week. The Tricky Triangle. What turn 4? How do you think that race is going to fare for the guys on the outside looking in for, like, let's say, Ricky Gonzalez, Mark Thomas, and Mark Gonzalez? Like, those guys were back in the back. Can't forget the other guy, Zach Woods. He had a pretty bad night tonight. What do you think he's going to try to do to make himself into the next round of playoffs?
It's going to be a tough one. You also might got Cody McCauley as well, another driver that had one win and also not there along with Josh Holmes. They didn't show up this tonight as well. There's a lot of drivers that are behind the ball here after this race, and it's going to be a hard road to climb out of. And Pocono, it's not the easiest track to make passes around high speeds going into 1 and 2. I just got a feeling it's going to be slightly a little bit more than an average with a Rex Flash just because of breaking in the corners. But I think it's going to balance out. I think it's, as we see, honestly, I'm calling it now. I think we're going to have a fuel mileage race. I don't know if we'll get a crazy winner, but I feel like fuel is definitely going to be a concern. And it's going to be at least someone's going to try to stretch it at the end.
I say we're going to have a fuel mileage race, and it's going to come down to less than a second. It's going to be a fuel mileage race. It's going to be a drag race down the front stretch for the race.
You're a little bit more optimistic than I am. I think it's just going to be like a fuel mileage race, and someone's going to stay out and going to stretch the fuel and just make it to the end while everyone else has to pit, like Rossi at the Indy 500 in 2016.
Yeah.
But we'll see if our predictions come out, and if they do, we'll also give you the lottery numbers next week. True, they're going to be the numbers from the previous day, but we didn't say they were going to be next week's.
Yeah, that is true. Well, Kevin, it's always been a pleasure having you in the booth with me tonight. Catch Carl and Jimmy tomorrow night as I get back in the car in the 87s and we go to North Wilkesboro in the East Coast Racing Circuit as they will bring you the coverage for that. And then you'll catch me in the booth Wednesday night following that race with High Speed Racing as they take the Street Stocks to another short track. Then Thursday, I make my debut in the 87s after missing last week due to a real-life racing event as the 87s in the Core Racing Vintage Series takes it to Bristol as I tried to capitalize on missed points last week and get a little bit more points this week. And then we have a Friday, Saturday off on CRN. But Sunday we are back with the Premier Series week number 4. And you can catch that on HSR Broadcasting. That's going to do it for Dylan McDonald and Kevin Young. Please take care and brush your hair.